And hi, guys, welcome back to Divergent Motivation. Today we are super excited because we finally have Anthony. Tell me, Anthony, was I too nagging on board
Say
with
that
us?
again?
Was
No,
I
no, not
too
at all.
nagging?
You're fine, yeah.
Yeah, okay, so we go with the flow with this one, yeah, but I would like to start from the beginning. How was it for you before the affidavit, and then after the affidavit, so we can start from there.
Well, I came across this journey in 2020 when they decided to lock the whole world down and give everybody access to technology and computers and information. I was locked down for 2 months, sat in my home. Obviously, I didn't follow the rules, but it gave us more access to information. And I don't know if you noticed at that time, in particular, that social media was just flooded with information. It was just a time where things started to be revealed that you wouldn't expect to normally see on social media. And I came across a post once of Adrian James when he was basically he posted an email that he sent to all the directors of all the supermarkets in relation to them committing terrorism in the supermarkets with masks, telling people to go wear
Oh
masks
yeah,
and stuff.
yeah, I remember that one. Yeah.
Uh, Yeah, and that's what drew my attention. That's what drew my attention to the Freedom and Justice group and Baron David Ward. And I joined that group, and within about a month, 6 weeks, I had my first lien on my first criminal in Birmingham City Council. So yeah, I served him on the 21st of May, 2021. So it was late 2020 that I came across the Freedom and Justice group, and it was Adrian that helped me do my first lien, and ever since then, I've been on this journey ever since. So I've got 2 liens in progress now. That's my 15th lien. I'm starting 2 more on Friday, so that'll be 17 liens so far, all the way from 2021 to now.
Well, you've become a lean machine.
Well, yeah, I mean, and to be honest with you, it's like a buzz to me. It's like an addiction now. I just can't wait to get home and post letter number 2 or letter number 3. You know what I mean? And send these liens by email to these criminal scumbags. Because I feel so much happier in myself now, not having to fund these people. I don't pay tax, gas, electric, water. Especially the TV license as well. I don't fund all these paedophiles and stuff in these companies. But yeah, I
Yeah.
feel so much happier now than I did in 2020. I was living in my own flat in 2020, and now I'm married. I've got a young daughter, and I'm much happier now than I was back then. Part of this
Yeah.
process has come with the Baron David Ward, process. So
And
yeah,
and
that's my journey.
when you have a group on Facebook, yeah.
Yeah, I have cracked the unlawful
When
legal
did you set up that one?
system that was set up in. I set up that in October or November of 2022. No, sorry,
Mm.
2021. What month are we? We're in 2023. So no, it wasn't last
Yeah,
year I set it up. It was the year before.
yeah, I think it
So
was in
2021. I can't keep up with the
2021.
times because time is passing us by so quickly. I just can't keep up. So 2021, I set that up. So it's over a year old now, the group, and it was doing
Yeah,
fantastic. I was at a point where I had nearly 25,000 members, but the group got infiltrated and attacked, unfortunately. But yeah, here we are. We're still making
yeah,
progress,
but no
and
one
we've got
can
a lot of
stop
new
the
recruits on
facts,
board. And
man.
say again?
No one can stop the facts. You were saying that you got
No, I mean
infiltrated.
a fact is a
Yeah, but
fact. A fact can't be disputed, can it? I mean, it's there, isn't it? You can't. This is. They've got all their opinions and beliefs and hearsay and gossip. We've got the facts, so we've won already anyway. So they can say what they like, they can do what they like. But if you haven't got the facts, then you're just a brain dead simpleton, and you're a criminal. Simple as, and we will expose you. And doing it all legal by legal agreements. Do you know what I mean?
yeah. Yeah. And was it like for you like a big surprise like reading all the facts from the I don't know if you were in common law and all of that before getting to the affidavit or
I got sucked into common law. I'm not going to sit here and tell white lies and stuff. I got sucked into common law and stuff, and I realised it's just another remedy that's been created by them to keep you chasing your tail and getting nowhere, and it keeps you looking this way and not over there what they're doing, kind of thing. These remedies they set up on purpose to keep you, trying to chase a remedy that doesn't actually exist, and it keeps you busy and distracted while they're doing other things behind the scenes. But this Baron David Ward remedy, you know what I mean? It was set up by the one man himself, and he worked hard. He's done the research, and he got the facts on paper and established that all 657 morons of Parliament are just criminals, and that there's no more authority than the local janitor at McDonald's. You know what I mean? And once people start to really come to terms, they're just people. They're just people just like me and you, trying to exert their will and authority over you by using blackmail, extortion, bribery, bullying, threats, all this kind of stuff. If you have to do all this stuff to get what you want, then you're not a legitimate organisation anyway. You just parasite. You're the lowest form of life. You know what I mean?
Yeah, if you don't do this, we will do you that, and it's all through enforcement, as they like to call it. Well, the word enforcement, I don't know.
I've got to give them credit as well, Carla, because they tell you absolutely everything they're doing. That even in the wording, they're telling you what they're doing. They put it all there in front of your face. You've just got to have the ability and the capabilities of being able to understand and undo exactly everything they're doing against you. Do you know what I mean? And that's what we're doing, even in the wording. So, yeah, that's where we get them.
Mm-hmm. One thing I like in particular, because then I start to follow some of your work, because like I say, we are all authors, because every lien that we accomplish is our creation, and it's the way we have to redress, or better word is our way of putting the facts on records. And I like particularly of your way of replying to this criminal. So if you want to tell us a little bit about your, I call it a sarcastic, a polite, sarcastic way of writing.
Can you hear me still? Yeah.
Yeah. Were you able to hear me?
The reason I do this, Carl. Yeah, I can hear you now. And the reason I do these things, sarcastically, because if somebody read that and they went down the pub, they're more likely to talk about, a funny experience. So they're more likely to remember a joke or something sarcastic that somebody said than they are, something serious. It's quite a clever thing. And this is why, when you watch a lot of comedy, right, and you listen to the comedian, and when he conveys his message to you, you're more likely to remember that and go repeat it to somebody else at work or in the shops, and stuff like that. And that's why I be sarcastic, and that's why I like to bully them to a degree, because these people, they don't deserve any respect. I'm not going to say please, thank you, yes sir, no sir, 3 bags full. So I'm not going to do any of that with these people. They don't deserve any respect anyway. So I'd rather insult them in my own little way, and call them this, call them that, and it kind of
you do it very it's because you're not being rude, and but yeah, like you said, you are using the comedy to get the message, and it's very I really like to read your work, because every time I read it, I feel like it's so transparent, so there is no obfuscation. You are telling as it is, and for other people, I really recommend you guys go in and look at the liens of the, because you can clearly see, not so much in the liens have to follow this type of if this then that, but you can see it on your replies, and opportunities to withdraw. And people can see that what you are saying makes a lot of sense, and it's in layman's terms as well. Yeah.
Well, absolutely, yeah. I mean, why around the bush? Just tell them how it is. You know what I mean? I don't afford any of these people respect. They're even after they've been given the facts and they've been given the opportunity to do the right thing and stop what they're doing, they still continue to do it. They still continue to use the templates and this is pseudo law and this is that, and that's all they've got. All their little templates that they've got. I see a lot of companies using the same things, the same tools, and the same resources. In response, I mean, if it's all pseudo legal nonsense, then you'll have no problem rebutting it. But not one of you ever do, and that's the problem. It's not a problem for us; it's a problem for you. Do you know what I mean? And at the end of the day, you just confirming everything we've said to be true anyway. You know what I mean? A fact is a fact, and you can't deny a fact. So you crack on with your templates, because that's all you've got in your life. It's like the local council. All they've got is the Local Government Finance Act 1992. It's like they get out of bed in the morning and pray to this thing. They recite it chapter and verse so they can go out and piss somebody off. It's just,
Do you think
it's
do you think it's some sort of Bible that they have?
Yeah, I mean,
The Act
they
of
must
1992.
pray. When you're at dinner and you say your graces, these people, sit around the family dinner and they are Local Government Finance Act 1992, blah, blah. But, you can just imagine it, these bald-headed terrorists that go around calling themselves bailiffs. I mean, most normal men want to go out and take their wives out to bowling or shopping, have a day out with the family, but they're not interested in any of that. They just want to go out and piss somebody off, make someone else's life a misery, because that's all they've got in their own lives. They're just sorry. They're just sorry people. They're just a waste of life. That's all they've got.
Yeah. What is the most difficult thing that you think that it's hard for people to do anything or take action after they read the affidavit, or even to start a lien?
Well, it's not hard at all, Carla. I mean, I've dealt with how many debt collection agencies now. I've dealt with Advantis, I've dealt with Equita, I've dealt with Bristow and Suter, I've dealt with Moorcroft, and not one of them have come to my door. Not one of them. Equita kept sending me letters, so I kept bullying the director and sending him emails. The letters have stopped now, and Birmingham City Council have sent me an letter yesterday talking nonsense. So I'm going to start on Deborah Cadman on Friday and have a lengthy chat with her. I've already got the email set up ready to go. I've just got to start Lee number 1 on Friday. But
Yeah.
I've had no problem at all. And two companies that are acting on behalf of Severn Trent. After I served them both a lien, they both sent the matter back to Severn Trent. And now Severn Trent is chasing me now. That means so now I'm dealing with Severn Trent, the CEO of Severn Trent. When you realise the CEO of Severn Trent is on £4 million a year salary, you must realise there's a big problem in this country when people are on this type of income. A £4 million a year, for being a criminal and ripping people off and, allowing people to stand in hazmat suits, sticking chemicals in the water, which doesn't belong to you anyway. Do you know what I mean? You're a disgrace. You're a despicable, human being. You're just a disgrace. And we call them human beings because that's what they are. They're monsters.
Yeah.
And that's what human being means. They're monsters. They're beasts. They're just terrible, terrible people. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Do you reckon that the more of people start sending liens, do you reckon that we will have like a big event turning to our way? Or I mean, if more of us would take action, by sending these emails and put them aware that we are aware of the facts and the truth, do you think that we will see like more they giving up their jobs, or maybe they would start restructuring things differently because we them? Or what is your thoughts on that?
Well, we're already having an impact, aren't we? I mean, we've got 3,000 liens minimum out on the public record. I mean, they're all there for the whole world to feast their eyes. And we're already winning because you've got countries all over the world engaged in one document made by, a man that lived in Warrington. Do you know what I mean? And the whole world is on this now. And, the facts can't change, Garda. We are already winning. Just people don't believe they are. You got to stop with the beliefs. You know what I mean? Put down your beliefs and start realising that what we're doing is having an impact. You know what I mean? And they can't contain this anymore. This system will collapse. And it'll collapse a lot quicker if you refuse to keep acquiescing to it and stop going out and protesting. Because the minute you start protesting, you're admitting you've got a master. And if you've got a master, then you're effectively a slave. You're not a slave, so you haven't got masters. You are your highest authority. So stop going out and protesting and realizing who you are and who you are not. And, the best form of protest is non-protest. Stop complying, with all the things that they tell you have to do, and stop funding these criminals. You know what I mean? And we could change the whole world overnight, Carlo. People don't realise that globally we can change the whole world overnight if people stop complying with this nonsense and this bullshit. You know what I mean? And this absolute abhorrent state of affairs that we have to deal with every day, getting up, being told we've got to do this, we've got to walk between the lines, run on the treadmill, chase bits of paper. None of it's important. You've got to realise what's important and start realising who you are not, first of all, and then start, taking action legally. That's what we've all been doing and trying to say for the last 3 years. We're not asking you to cancel direct debits, stop paying these so-called bills. We're asking you to realise what's right and what's wrong morally, and then you'll realise that you've never ever had an obligation to these people. The UK government, which is a private company, by the way, it doesn't have any obligations to you either. It hasn't got any obligations at all. It can't, because the only obligations it has is to the state. Do you know what I mean? So if we've got no obligation for them, they've got no obligation for us, and vice versa. So stop giving them credit. And the only way we're going to end.
One of the things that Baron David Wood used to say was, "Stop paying the fuckers." But with that accent from Warrington, which I can't reproduce.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I know you have something coming up for Birmingham area, right? Do you want to go a little bit into that? Why you feel the need to do this now? And we go from there.
Yeah, there's no rush to end this video call. I mean, there's nothing going on at work at the moment. So I've got a workshop on the 25th of February of 2023, which is next Saturday. It's my first workshop. I'm a little bit nervous, but it's got to be done. We've got to start getting the facts out there. Even in the local areas, not just on social media, but we've got to get out there. Start talking to your neighbours, the people in the corner shop. Start striking up conversations, planting the seeds. You don't have to tell them everything. Just plant a few seeds and give them a few links or breadcrumbs, and let them go on their way and make their own decisions. We're not forcing this on you, but this is the way we do it. And if anyone says that it doesn't work, then you haven't been paying attention, because it does work. And I can firsthand say that this actually does work, because I've done it 13 times now, and 15 times it'll be in 2 weeks' time, and I've never had a problem. You know what I mean? I'm starting to to see what's really going on, and I have now for a while. I've cut out all the crap, the common law crap that I was sucked into in 2020. All the conspiracy theories. I've put that to the side. Common law, it's a no-go. You've got to stop following this crap, man. The Magna Carta and all this Constitution crap. You know what I mean? Just focus on what's important.
What I feel about common law is that it's you making claims. That's why I feel like common law doesn't work, because once you are introduced, I was introduced first to the affidavit, so it was kind of easy, because then I went to see what common law is and Magna Carta and all of that, but I was always being pushed to the affidavit because it was my first. So I was already questioning some things, like, for example, the Magna Carta. I mean, the affidavit tells me that everything needs to be here and now, and you have to sign and give your consent. Well, I wasn't there in 2012, 20 something, I don't know. So I don't feel, go ahead.
The 12-15, you mean, yeah?
Yeah, 12-15, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I was waiting to be born myself. I never even had an opportunity because I wasn't here,
Yeah, and so it's like the same thing with the Constitution. They say, oh yeah, the Constitution is for the people, and I'm like, no, man, I wasn't there either. So how the hell can that thing apply to me? So. Once you break everything down from the foundation, which is the affidavit, you can no longer be manipulated with this type of I don't know, false remedies, I call them.
Yeah. Hello?
So with this workshop that you are going to do, it's your first one. Yeah, I know you're nervous. You will see that you don't need to be.
Yeah.
um, is there anything you would like? So anyone that is watching this and lives in the Birmingham area, do they need to go somewhere to let you know that they want to come, or they can just come and? Or
No,
it's
I
best to
mean,
go to?
um, I posted the what they call it status on Facebook, letting everybody know. I mean, the room can hold up to 70 people. So I booked it for 50, and any additional, they're more than welcome to come. I don't hold anyone back. Just come along and just bring any questions you have, basically, and maybe a notepad. If you want to go away and learn from what you've written down and learn from what you've taken in the workshop. And of
Yeah.
course, we're just getting out
So they
there and
can go.
spreading.
They can go to your group, correct? The unlawful legal system, correct? On
Yeah, that's
Facebook.
correct.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
I
correct.
think there are two. Is one that is impersonating yours. So if you want to give a little bit more of a description, so people can identify your group and not go to the impersonating one.
Well, we have our group, which was set up in October of 2021, and it's got
Yeah.
the Baron David Ward affidavit picture on the profile picture itself. The other group, it's just run by a bunch of morons from outer space. These sad, pathetic, low life trolls that went up and set up a group, to try and, I don't know, discredit our work or whatever. I mean, I end up having an argument with one guy that was in that group. They do it out of spite and malice, and they think that they're really clever, and not. You're not. You're just pathetic, childish human being. Again, I come back to that word human being because you've got no
Yeah.
spine. You know the facts. You want to go out there and discredit them instead. You're part of the system, and these are the first people to moan about the system but not do anything about it. You know what I mean? Because they think what they're doing is correct, but it's not because you've got no brains. In between your ears. You know what I mean? It's sad people, man.
Yeah. Okay, so for the listeners, go to the Facebook and look for the picture with Baron David Wood's affidavit, and you are in the right place with Anthony.
Actually, yes, about 18 admins, I think, for our group alone. We've got 7.9 thousand members at the minute. So there's plenty of signs to look out for on our group. And don't be sucked into any other groups. We've got no the unlawful legal system chat, and we've got no other groups, with that name. We've just got that group alone. So if you get an invite from a group chat claiming to be correct the unlawful legal system, or from a group with a different profile picture, then it's not us. It's just some moron. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I know you guys have also all the admins and the members in there. They give a lot of support with Zooms and yeah.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Darren and Scott in particular, they're doing the Zooms every week and doing your podcasts. I can't thank them enough. Got to give them enough credit for that. Yes, and we've got a lot of new people, a lot of clever minds that have come on board recently, and they've started to take action and started to get on board with the facts, and they're even setting up their own groups off the back of our groups. You know what I mean? And spreading the message a bit. It's good to see as well. So.
Yeah, I'm a stealer. Yeah, everything you write, I go there and I steal it and I post it.
I thought you never had a Facebook account anymore. So how are you managing to do that?
Oh no, I had them. I have I'm very organized. Yeah, so I have like a file for each one of the barons that I like, what they the way they think and the things that they write. So I have you, I have Stacy, I have Scott, I have Darren. I have from the older ones as well. I have loads. I was able to take a lot of things from Baron David Ward as well. So yeah, I have a file on each one of you.
Should I be worried?
Yes, you should. Because if you ever say, oh no, I didn't wrote that, I'm going to go to my file and say, you wrote this on this date at this time.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Yeah, because I thought
What we should
that
do with all these.
there was a time when Baron David after Baron David Ward passed away and the group went like awfully quiet. And I thought to myself, you know what, I'm going to take everything and keep it in a safe place, because one of the things that for me was the most precious thing was me reading all his replies to other people's questions. That's why I think I got a little bit of his temper. So I decided to do that, to keep it all safe, because and we never know. It one day we have this fuck book, and the other day we don't. So at least I still have things in a way that I could always keep the work going and the facts being spread and everything. Yeah, that's it.
There's no change in that.
Yeah, no. There is no way, there is no going back. It
No,
is what it
absolutely not.
is.
No.
Yeah. So do you have any like me and Scott and Adrian, you're not going to spend all your life doing lean. So how do you project your things into the future? How do you see that what are you going to be doing next, let's say?
Oh, I don't really know. I'm like an octopus with 8 legs. I'm just being pulled in all different directions. I want to do this. I want to do that. You know what I mean? It's just, it's something I really got to sit down and think about. Scott's moving off grid, which is, it's a great thing to do. And I don't think my wife would really, be comfortable with doing that just yet. We've got a young daughter as well. It's a big thing to do, but yeah, I want to get out of this system completely and stop funding all this bricks and mortar and all this crap, because none of it's important. Yes, having a roof over your head's fine, but having to pay to live, the only species on this planet, being told you've got to pay to live, you've got to pay to drink water, which is just essential to life. And who are these people to dictate that you have to pay to drink water? It's just sad. But yeah, I kind of want to get out of this system somehow, and make changes for the better, and educate my daughter the best I can, and question absolutely everything she's told when she comes down from school every day, and tell her to go back and tell the teacher this is incorrect, this is the real answer. You know what I mean? And my daughter, girl, she's great. She's very clever, and I want to make sure she stays that way and not be
Yeah.
brainwashed. From these state-run schools, the state-run for a reason, because they decide what your kids get to be taught. You know what I mean? It's so sinister, and people don't question these things. But yeah, that's my plan going forward. So yeah.
Yeah. So if anyone
I
approaches
don't really
you,
know, to be honest.
yeah. So if anyone, like anyone in the group that is new or something, approaches you and asks you about the all caps name and all of that, we know it's jibber jabber, but I would like to have your input on this. What would you say to someone that asks you that?
It's just another rabbit hole, isn't it? It's just another rabbit hole. I mean, I've seen on the UK, the not UK government website the other day about Sescovies trusts. They're saying that people are going around not driving with car insurance, claiming Sescovies trusts, and it's all fraud. This is what it said on the not government website, which is ironic, because you're a bunch of fraudsters yourself, and you're telling us that the people reading this garbage, that the Sescovies trusts are all fraud and all garbage. Yes, we know they're all fraud and garbage. And to be fair, I don't think the government's ever made claim to Sescovies trusts anyway. But obviously somebody wrote that document, but we wasn't even alive when they did. But yeah, if someone approaches me about all the all caps name, I'll just write in capital letters a massive response, and it'll look like I'm shouting at them. I mean, go away with your nonsense. You know what I mean? I don't want to be hearing this all caps crap. You know what I mean? I mean, this was a rabbit hole that I went down in 2020. I mean, I heard about that way before 2020. I never really questioned
Yeah.
any of it. Because whether it's caps lock or not, it doesn't really matter, because you're still being defrauded. You're still being screwed out of 92% tax and all this, and that's nothing to do with the all caps name. It's just stolen out of your salary every month anyway, regardless. You know what I mean? So unless you choose to do something about the here and now, what's in front of you, and stop arguing about the alphabet, you know what I mean? Nothing's ever going to change. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And the same thing, but now with a birth certificate.
Well, again, Yes.
The birth certificate is the ones that go around, you know.
It's just another rabbit hole, isn't it? It's just
Yeah.
another thing. People to be arguing about common law, Magna Carta, the birth certificate, the straw man. It's this, it's that. It's the straw man that won that case in 2013 against Warrington Borough Council. You know what I mean? You've got to stop all this nonsense. Put all your stuff down, man, and agree that the biggest problem out there is that the very thing calling itself UK government. Once this system collapses, and it will, Carla, the quicker the better, but that depends on us. Once it collapses, 99% of the problems, along with the media, when they collapse as well, 99% of the problems in the world will end overnight. It will all end. It depends on us. Everyone's pointing fingers. It's this, it's that, it's them. People are moaning about who they are. Stop doing it. The problem lies with you, and the solution is you. And until you stand up and do something about it, then the problem will always be you. Do you know what I mean? So stop arguing about these silly little nothing burgers, the things that are just going to take you to a dead end anyway. It's like driving up a one-way street, isn't it?
Yeah. And I will push a little bit further. So if anyone tells you that they are going into court or they have a judgment, what would you say to those people?
Well, who
Well, I
said you
know
got a
first give them the affidavit.
well, who said you got a judgment? Nobody ever said you've got a judgment. It comes in your letterbox, unsigned, no name on the bottom of the correspondence. Who said you've got a judgment? You know what I mean? So this is where we go back to the Companies Act 2006. People are listening to letters written by nobody. Letters don't write themselves. So who said you've got a judgment? And who in a civil matter can issue a judgment against you anyway? Because they've been breaking their own rules, and that's 7 to 10 years imprisonment under your own rules for fraud. That's why no judge will ever sign a judgment in a civil matter. The contempt of court reporting restrictions tell you that. No judge will ever sign a warrant of any kind, liability order, whatever, in a civil matter because he's breaking his own rules, and that's fraud under his own rules, and that's 7 to 10 years imprisonment. Malfeasance is 25 years in the office. Do you know what I mean? So who actually said you got a judgment? Nobody said you got just unsigned correspondence that came through your door, telling you got to do this and do that. Says who? And this is the problem. You know what I mean? People are listening. My next door neighbour might as well wrote that letter and pushed it through the door. And people are responding to these things. Don't forget we was all in this boat once, I'm not knocking people, but you've got to start questioning everything and start reading. Just in the wording, notice of a liability order, application for a liability order. And I think a part of the reason they've done this, but everyone keeps going on about this council tax handbook that the councils know that they can't issue liability orders because they were removed in 2003 in the council tax handbook. I'm only pointing that out because this is how these councils are getting around their own rules by saying, oh, we haven't issued a liability order, we've issued an application for one, or we've issued a notice of one. You see what I'm saying? They're just using clever play on words. So there's never any liability order anyway. There's a notice of one or an application being granted for one, but there isn't actually a liability order. It's a clever play on words, and people have got to start reading carefully, top to bottom, what the word actually says, and stop being tricked and deceived by manipulation of language. Nobody had the authority to manipulate anyway, and that includes Mr. Black's, the Black Law's Dictionary. Who gave him the rights to go and manipulate the language, all for commercial means and opportunities on their behalf, to screw us out of something that we've got no obligation to give them anyway.
Yeah. It was a good point you touching that, because I think that the council tax is like the big one, especially now, that I think that people are starting to look at what is really going on with council tax, but there are still many who don't even question it,
Well, they're
and
putting it up by 5%, 5% or 10%. Council tax is going up, so people will be paying something like an extra £200, £300, maybe £400 extra a year for what? For what exactly? I've never called the police. I don't use ambulances. What am I actually paying for? I still get my bins collected every week, and I haven't paid council tax over a year and a half now nearly, and I'm still getting my bins collected because these bins are paid for through the services that when you go to a shop. You pay goods and services tax, which is stolen from when you go to the shop. You know what I mean? And that pays for the services of the men and women in this country that run these services. It's not the government. You notice when the government closes down for 6 weeks in the summer, they close down and go off on their holidays and do their criminal activities, and they shut the government down. Everything still runs. The buses still run, the trains, or absolutely everything still runs in the country, and the government shut down. Well, that means we don't need the government, doesn't it? Because they're just a bunch of criminals just making money off something they don't actually provide anyway. They're just liars, same as the council. Nobody in this country pays tax. Everyone thinks they pay tax. Nobody pays tax. It's stolen from them. There's a difference. When did you agree formally to pay tax? When did the taxman come to work and help you do your job? For him to take 20% of your actual earnings, your income. He never. So why is he entitled by default, without a legal or formal agreement, to take tax from you? It's theft. It's legalised theft. It's like me, coming up to you in an alleyway and saying, "Give me your wallet. It's for your benefit." It's the same principle. It's just theft. That's all it is, man. And people got to stop realising it's not tax. It's theft. It's just a word.
I think people think it's an obligation. That word obligation, and I think it's where the breakdown needs to start, or we need to start talking more about breaking down this wording. So I will pass that on to you. The word obligation.
An obligation can only arise from a two-party valid and legal contract, which is signed by two embodied hands. Right? If it's not signed by one party, then the contract is null and void. And if in the absence of a formal or legal and valid contract, there is no contract, so therefore there's no obligation. And if you look at the word liability, if you say the word liability backwards, it's the ability to lie, and this is what these companies are doing. They're showing you their ability to lie to you and calling it a liability. There is no liability. You can't have a liability outside of a formal legal contract. It's as simple as that. These fancy words, they're words that are used to compel you to perform like little monkeys in a circus. You know what I mean? So yeah, if you've got a formal, valid and legal contract at work, you've got a contract of employment signed by two embodied hands, then you have liabilities and obligations. Obligation to turn up to work, and if they don't pay you your salary for turning up for work, then they have an obligation to correct that mistake, or they have a liability, to pay you your missing income. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, true. Another thing that I notice is that every time you speak, especially for me, every time I speak to people and I say, you have to make them prove their claim, I notice that people go like, what is that word claim? They don't even know what the word claim even means. So there is I feel like there is a deliberated like not knowing the words, because people only think that the word claim is only entitled to certain situations. So in your day routine, you would not challenge any of that as being a claim. Do you know what I mean?
Well, yeah, I mean, the language has been subverted, it's been manipulated, and the word claim, if you come to work and say, "Oh, so-and-so hit me," have you got any proof of that? Yeah, there's a camera up there, and if the camera can support that, that claim of you saying that somebody hit you, fine. But if you've got no evidence of somebody hitting you, right, then you've got no supporting evidence, no physical material evidence. I'm not just talking about cameras or CCTV. I'm talking about if someone sends you a letter saying that you owe £2,000 for council tax. Okay, then first of all, who wrote the letter? Second of all, show me the obligation, that I have to Birmingham City Council that I have to pay £2,000 council tax. Show me the obligation, please, and I'll wait 7 days for that, and 7 days are up and they can't show you. All they can do is quote silly words from a piece of paper written by somebody that I've never met in my life, So where does the obligation come from? There's no contract. There hasn't been a contract, formal, valid and legal contract in over 800 years with this system calling itself government. It's just organised crime. That's all it is. It's organised criminal enterprise. That's all it is. but they're not very organised. If you really believe that these people are there for you, when you walk past homeless people down every street, well, you've got over 500,000 homeless people on the streets in this country, and everybody ignores them. And yet you've got this so-called government sending money to fund a proxy war in Ukraine, yeah, before sorting out the people in this country that need the help. They've got no obligations to you, and that's why they don't do it. They're just running around doing what they want, and they're laughing at you. So the best thing you can do is stop funding them when they run out of.
Yeah, and the last thing that they sent to help Turkey. Have you seen it?
Well, yeah, they're probably just they're not helping Turkey. They're going there to see what they can get out of the country in terms of resources. This is what they do. You know, the UK so-called UK government has bombed and invaded all but 22 countries. You know, in this world, there's 209 countries on this earth, and they've raided all but 22 countries and pillaged and raped and destroyed all these countries for resources and put people into poverty and homelessness. And you really think these people are there for you? They're parasites. You know, they're just parasites. You know, there's no word in the dictionary that can possibly describe these people. You know, to the massive extent of the criminal behaviours and criminal entities that they are. Do you know what I mean?
I would like to go now into the tax.
The what? Sorry.
Yeah, tax.
Okay.
So let's say, for example, that you get an attachment of earnings. Yeah, because I'm going through this because it's what I see that it keeps people from taking action. Yeah. So
Yep.
if you can just break it down, the attachment of earnings and what is and what isn't for people to.
Well, the attachment of earnings is their next step, isn't it? When they can't get what they want out of you, when they can't fool you with their word magic and wordplay, with their unsigned correspondence, they go to the next step and they look up who you are, your national insurance and all this, which is another fraud, by the way. Then they go to your employer and write to your employer. And if you can do what Adrian James actually did, he served a lien on his actual the directors of his companies. Right, and you serve the lien on them, and all of a sudden he's not paying no income tax or national insurance, you know, and they stop stealing out of his salary at that point, and I think he left the company in the end. But that's the whole gist of it. Attachment of earnings, right? It's just another form of tax, isn't it? It's just another form of tax, you know, taking from you what they think they're entitled to. Right, they've got to balance the books somehow. Do you know what I mean? If they let too many people get away with, well, it's not so much getting away with it. They let too many people stand up to them, then they start, you know, getting the salary off them somewhere else. And this is why I like the idea of people being self-employed, you know, working for themselves, because they're under no obligation to fill the forms in, and you don't have to, you know, fund these terrorists anyway. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the old attachment of earnings, you know, you can deal with that just as much as you can deal with anything else. You know, the whole system's fraud, so why would you stop at not dealing with the attachment of earnings? You know, I'll probably get it myself, you know, at some point. I got a letter saying that I'm from Birmingham City Council on Monday, saying that they're going to take court action if I don't respond within 7 days. So good luck with that one. I look forward to that.
What we like is to have the material evidence on our side. That's what makes us happy.
We've got that anyway. In fact, they've got it as well. They just don't want to look at it because they're too scared to stand up to the very people that are making them, the minions that are making them commit fraud themselves. And then they don't realise it until we tell them, but they continue to keep doing it anyway because they want to go home and put bread on the table, knowing what they've just done and commit fraud against somebody else. They think they're untouchable. But there will be a time, and, you know, we will come after all of these people and they will be held accountable. You know what I mean? Whether they've had a lien or not, there will be a time when this country will rise up, you know, and say enough is enough. Do you know what I mean? These 15-minute cities and all this nonsense that the media is scaring you with, all the UFO nonsense as well, right? It's because they're scared.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
we can go on.
Say again?
We can dive in on that one because I find it so hilarious.
Well, the way I see it, if they wouldn't be pulling these stunts. The system's done. They know they're done. It's just a matter of time. The whole system's going to collapse under the weight of its own lies and fraud and deception. Too many people are waking up now. Whether they wanted to wake people up during the 2020 hoax and scam, right, or whether it was intentional or whether they didn't mean to do it, or that they was hoping that everybody would line up for this so-called toxic cocktail that they're putting in people's arms. It's one big failure. And they started to realise now they've screwed up, and people are waking up and starting to push
Yeah,
back. And they're
you
doing it
can see
legally.
that they are desperate by this
Yeah, they
stunt.
are. I mean, UFOs. I mean, if you think of a worm on the floor, Carl, we walk past and we disregard that worm, right? We ignore the worm because the worm's just sliding across the floor because it's irrelevant to us. It's the same with aliens. If there were aliens out there, why the hell would they want to come to this planet?
Yeah,
They're
but
supposed to be
I break down the word differently. I separate the word a lean.
Well, yeah.
So when I saw that, I was just like, oh, a lean, which means that you guys have been all lean and now you are running scared. So let's destroy objects in the sky, non-identified objects in the sky.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just surreal. Okay, so I remember there was a post again from you,
Yeah.
and you were talking about applications for arrest warrants. So I want to
Yeah.
touch on that one.
Well, an application, you make an application for something, the application gets granted, doesn't it? Not the arrest
Yeah.
warrant itself. It's all in the wording. So when we make an application for a arrest warrant, the application for a arrest warrant gets granted. And then they tell you in the post that an application has been granted. But where's the arrest warrant? A notice of a liability order. I've got a notice of a liability order. So where's the liability order? I've got the notice. Where's the liability order? It's a clever play on words, and this is how they're getting around it, tricking and deceiving people, manipulating the language. They've got no authority to do anyway. So they can't issue liability orders because the judge will never sign it. So they're giving you a notice of one instead. And this is exactly what they're doing. So in their world, they're not actually doing anything wrong because they're not issuing any liability orders anyway. That's what. So the judge is free because he's done nothing wrong. And the people acting on behalf of the judge, sending notices, are not doing anything wrong either in their world. But they are because they're committing fraud and they don't even realise it by making false claims that they can't prove, which we hold them accountable for in the way by way of a security, by way of a lien. So we get them anyway.
Yeah. I've seen some correspondence from them stating that the company is not doesn't need to abide by the Companies Act of 2006. What do you have to say if you get a letter stating that?
But it's not a company document, then, is it? Because it clearly states in the Companies Act 2006, Section 44, a document, it's in the first sentence, a document is validly executed if such and such is signed by a director or in the presence of a witness. If the witness attests the signature, then it needs to be signed by a witness. So a document is validly executed. So if it's not signed, and in the absence of a common seal, which clearly states in the Companies Act 2006, Section 44, then it's not a company document, is it? It's just a load of garbage. It's like a leaflet you find on the bus that nobody has to comply with. It's just a load of rubbish. You've got people sending letters, signing it off with BW Legal. BW Legal is a title. It's an act of registration. He's got no brain. He's got no mind. He's got no hands, arms, or feet. So how can he be sending letters to people? Making claims that we have rights to do this, we have rights to do that. BW Legal has no rights to do anything because it doesn't exist. It only exists on paper. It only exists on Companies House. So who wrote the letter? Especially financially motivated letters as well. It's always a financially motivated letter that suddenly somebody forgot to put the signature on because they know exactly what they're doing. They don't implicate themselves in these things. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, Companies
Yeah,
Act 2000.
in Portugal, they are sending it processed by computer. In the
Processed by.
signature, in the signature, they write processed by computer.
Oh, brilliant. So the computer walked down to the post office, asked for an envelope at the counter, asked for a first class stamp, and
Yeah.
requested the girl behind the counter to send this letter to this individual at this
Yes.
address.
Yes. This is the state that things are at the moment. So everywhere that you start looking, you start seeing that, my God, the things that we didn't see before. And now when you look at them, you just start laughing because it's surreal, even.
Well, nothing is hidden, really. It's always been there. It's just we
Yeah.
haven't seen it. We haven't paid enough attention to notice it. It's always been there. Everything they do in their world, they tell us about. I mean, the manipulation of language, the wording they use in all these legislations, they never find the word man or woman. They use all these words. So they turn you into a corporation to a degree. And that's how they think they contract with you, by way of a deemed contract, which is what these energy companies are calling it, a deemed contract. Well, deemed in the English dictionary means reckon or suppose. Well, I reckon you're an idiot. You don't make it true until you prove it, but you're reckoning that you've got a contract with me, Mr. So prove this contract you reckon you've got with me then. They use all this clever language and people don't question what they actually mean when you go on the English dictionary. Deemed means reckon or suppose. Well, I suppose you're an idiot and you're a fraudster. What I will do now is I will serve you a lien over 6 weeks and then I will prove that after supposing you're an idiot and a fraudster, that you are an idiot and a fraudster, and we're going to put that on the public record. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly. I really love the way your brain thinks, you know? I was just like laughing. Well, I reckon you're an idiot.
Well, it's the same
I
principle.
just love it. Oh my God. Okay, so moving along, let's go to another subject, which is that in the affidavit, yeah, we learn, 7 pages long, what is in a state, yeah, which is of no material substance. And
Yeah.
these people keep hiding behind the state. Do you feel like either they really don't know, yeah, or do you think that some of them know, especially the ones that are on higher in the hierarchy positions, or do you think that this is like, they really don't know, no matter what level they are? I think they never came across this, or what is your thoughts on that?
Oh, the higher ups definitely know. They definitely know. The minions, the lower levels, they're only subject to certain information and kept in the dark like a mushroom. But the people at the top, they definitely know, because when they do these so-called fake ballot election process, which we all know is a fraud anyway, they actually dissolve the company of UK Government and Parliaments PLC. They dissolve it. So the next CEO of HM Parliaments and Governments PLC can come in and take over the reins. So we had Doris Johnson, then we had that idiot for 45 days, whatever her name was, and now we've got this unelected moron, which they're all unelected anyway. Nobody elected them; they just put themselves there because they're positioned, through their puppet masters. Nobody actually elects anyone. And these people. George Carlin once said, I don't know if you've heard of George Carlin. He said the
Hmm.
people say that the people that go out and vote say to the people that don't vote, you've got no right to complain. Well, that's actually the opposite. The opposite is true, because the people that do vote or think their vote counts are the ones that have got no right to complain. You went to the ballot box, you put your cross in that box, you got this idiot in power, so you're actually the problem, that the country's in the state that it's in. And George Carlin, he nailed that perfectly. But the ballot box, and all this stuff about the UK government's this and that. It's just a company like McDonald's, or B&M, and Wilco. It's got no more authority than my local news agents. You know what I mean? You'd laugh at the guy behind the counter telling you you've got to read the Sun because I told you to. You know what I mean? So why would you listen to these people in a company of 657 people who come on national television, pretend they're all arguing with each other on national television because they're calling themselves two parties, which are paid by the same bank account, by the way, right? And the two wings of the same bird. And yet when the cameras are off, they all go out the same door and go down the pub and drink together. You know what I mean? It's just a political theatre. It's a game. It's theatre. Do you know what I'm saying? And that's why they
Yeah.
call it an act written by an actor acting in a role, like Boris Johnson's acting in a role, an act. Do you know what I mean? So it's just all political theatre. People that look at the whole system at large and what it actually is. Right, it isn't anything. So no material substance. The state is a company, no different to McDonald's. And what's his name? The guy, Jack
Uh,
Beatson. He broke it down
yeah.
perfectly in state at Nottingham Trent University about what a state actually is, and the
Yeah,
state has got no
that was
obligation. Anybody,
Chandra
but
Kakutas.
say again.
That was Chandra Kakutas giving the definition of a state, and then you
Oh,
have the Lord
oh
Chief
yeah,
Justice.
and the state has got no obligations to
Yeah,
anybody but the state. But we're not the state, are we?
no.
Do you know what I
Mm-mm.
mean? So
Yeah.
there you go.
Uh, um, if you can give your thoughts as well on, especially because I feel like I think the people need to understand that you have like the police and the firefighters and the doctors or the hospitals or whatever. Yeah. So apparently, we all pay tax for them to exist, the service. Yeah.
Yeah.
So why would they be themselves paying tax too? So, um,
So your phone.
yeah, yeah,
You
it's
all right?
done. It's yeah, yeah, all good, all good.
Yeah, it's all part of the same political theatre. They want to get as much as they can out of absolutely every single individual, in this country, and keep them, tied into the economic system and keep them chasing bits of paper, working harder, so they can screw you a bit more. Do you know what I mean? They just want people smart enough just to work the machines and stupid enough to accept how badly they're being screwed by this very system that's got no obligations to you anyway. People don't realise they're funding their own demise. You know what I mean? They're funding, every time they get into debt, when there is no debt anyway, but every time they get into, hardship and stuff like that, it's because you've been funding the very system that's caused it in the first place. You know what I mean? And then the system will sell back the solution to you to the problem they caused in the first place by offering you benefits and all that. Now they've got you. They've got you tied into their system again. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's a very hard system to get out of, and they've designed it in such a way that they think we're all stupid and just stupid enough to accept how badly we're being screwed by these people. But now, thankfully, a lot of people are waking up and realising, starting to take action and stop funding these terrorists.
Yeah. Do you feel like most of these people they only stay in this type of jobs because of the pension and stuff like that?
Well, not just the pension. They feel that a lot. I mean, a lot of these police, they take their IQ tests now, and their IQ tests are very low because they want people, they want police just stupid enough to go out and beat other people up. That's what they want in the police force. The word is there, force, police
Mm.
force. They want to, force you into compliance, so we will use force against you and beat you up. You know what I'm saying? And the police, they don't actually work for us. They work in a public service role, so they work for the public. The public is the UK government, so they don't work for you. People are going to get this notion, the police, we pay your wages and all that. We don't pay any wages because it's stolen from you, and I didn't agree to it, so it's theft. You know what I mean? And they want thugs. The police are just glorified thugs now, aren't they? It's like the bailiffs. They all come out and they assist each other. The police are there to prevent the breach of the peace, apparently, but yet they turn up in a bulletproof vest, tasers, truncheons,
Yeah.
handcuffs. But they're there to prevent the breach of the peace. You've already caused it by turning up dressed like that. You know what I mean? So it's just ironic that these people are given these positions, these titles, and they're there to do this. No, you're not. They're there to protect the state from the people, not the other way around. Do you know what I'm saying?
Mm. Yeah, true to that. Um, one of the things that I noticed that is being well, I'm not. I don't know if you um, looked or you have someone, but I have some people, some friends in Dubai because I live there as well, and they were the other day they were telling me that things in Dubai after the shenanigans of 2020 that now everything you have is like your ID, your everything is in your phone. Yeah, so
Yeah.
everywhere you want to go you have to use your phone, even if and then she was telling me that if you get like a late payment or something, they will like put an alert on your phone, or if you go like buy something and that alert will come out like you didn't pay this and this and this. So my question to you is, do you see that this is what they are pushing, and then you have all these countries like Dubai, Japan, and all of this, that is all, they are all so futuristic, and this is like the countries where they are starting with this because people are more calm, let's say, instead of starting, like for example here in the UK, because I feel like, yeah, we speak about people here, but I don't see us taking this shit. I don't know your thoughts on that one. Do you think if that thing happened here, do you see like a lot of people complying with that, or no?
Well, let's not forget, Carla, we need to question absolutely everything we're told. I mean, we're told about this so-called social credit system in China. They've been pushing this story in the media for years, but how do you know it's actually true? Because the Chinese have got a firewall, so a lot of stuff that goes on in China, the rest of the world don't actually know. They've actually got a firewall on their internet thing, so a lot of stuff happening in China doesn't come out of China. So how do you know this social credit system that they've been pushing in the media is actually true? You never actually physically see it for yourself, and this is where we go back to physical material evidence. If you didn't see it, then it probably didn't happen. Do you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
uh, the problem, the good thing with us, with us as species, the men and women of this country, and especially in the world, we're all very creative people. And these brain dead imbeciles that are, working in these corporations, they're not very creative. So if they think that they can bring out a QR code, which somebody can just draw on with a marker and mess up their whole system and make it crash. The same thing with Oxford, with the 15-minute cities. Somebody overnight dug up the bollard and filled it up with cement. So if you want to do things peacefully, every time they stick a camera up, just take it down and dump it outside the building they're calling the council. And just tell them this is peaceful non-compliance. We're not complying with your shit. You carry on doing what you're doing, and eventually we will come in and we'll drag you out by the scruff of your neck, and we will deal with you accordingly. We're not pulling up with your shit. It's as simple as that. And we're very, very, unfortunately, a lot of people in this country are very compliant, but a lot of people are also very creative. You know what I mean? So if you wanted to come up with this idea, that's fine. Then we'll come up with our own ideas, and we'll just mess up your system. So stop complying with it. Stop accepting it. Every time they stick a gate up, hook it up to a forklift truck and pull the gate down and dump it back outside the council office. It's the same with these plant pots they keep sticking to the end of the roads. Get a forklift,
Yeah.
lift up the plant pot, and stick it in your back garden, and keep it as a plant pot, or just go and dump it outside the council office at the entrances and the exits of the council office, so they can't get in or out. And that make the world a happier place. You know what I mean? Stop trying to piss people off with your nonsense about 15-minute cities. Who are you to tell me I can't go down the road, outside of a 15-minute radius? Who the hell are you? And people are moaning and complaining, but what are you doing about it? You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? But if
Yeah.
you're going to start talking about social credit systems and stuff, start questioning it. Is it even real? Because the media, the Greek goddess of illusion was called media. The Greek goddess of illusion was called illusion. Media or media. The Greek goddess of illusion was called media or media.
Yeah.
The media just
Medea.
tell lies, everything. Stop believing them.
Yeah. True. Okay, so we are on 1 hour mark. Are you okay to go,
Yeah,
or
carry on. Yeah.
yeah, we can Oh my god, it's so good to have you here. So is there anything you wanna speak in particular, or should I go on with my
No, you carry on.
yeah, yeah, it was me who challenged you to pick your brain, so here I go. Okay, so yeah, we were talking about the oh, we have Scott. Yay, Scott is
Oh,
here.
brilliant! Scott's jumped online. That's brilliant.
Yeah, we have another one to pick your brains, Anthony. So this is good. So
Oh,
Scott,
I'm going now. See you later.
no, stay here. You cannot go.
No, it's okay.
So Scott, I did like a huge brain sucking from Anthony. I pass the floor to you if there is anything you want to ask him, or yeah.
Good evening.
Hello.
Good evening.
Yes, I would have jumped on earlier, but you'll never believe what I've done, Kat.
What?
I've left my phone underneath the floor at work.
No, you didn't.
And screwed the floor down. I really did. So I've got to sort that tomorrow. But so I would have been on earlier. So great to have. Well, me and Anthony have only really spoken online. I think did we meet on a Zoom once, Anthony?
Yeah, we done one Zoom with you, Dave Kingswood, and Adrian.
Yeah.
Oh so my God, you got the Lions all to yourself.
So it's great to have Anthony with us.
Yeah. No, like.
And yeah, mate, I'm looking forward to this affidavit workshop. I know what a pain in the backside that can be to organise. So well done for getting that sorted, mate.
Yeah, no problem. I've just got to go down in the next couple of days and pay the £100 for the room. I'm going to have a look at it as well, see what I can organise. It houses up to 70 people, the guy said on the phone, so it should be all right. I've got to organise all the
yes, but Anthony was saying early on that he's a little bit okay. So my first one. So if you can like share with him some pointers for him to feel more. Yeah, you got this.
I know he's got it because I've read his words online, so I know he's got it. But yeah, first one's you'll shit your pants, mate. I shit my pants the first time. But look, ultimately, they're just men and women, aren't they? Yeah, just like you and me. And you have an advantage, Anthony, because you understand the facts. You understand what David achieved. Yeah, you understand.
Yeah.
So really, mate, I just don't deviate from that affidavit. They're all there to understand the affidavit more.
Yeah.
And that's where we keep it, mate. You know, it's if they want to go into the liens, we can do that maybe at the end of the talk. But I keep it affidavit.
Yeah, no problem.
But I think there's a few admins going, Anthony, which is great.
Is it you, Darren, and who else?
I think Darren's coming. I'm coming. I'm sure Susie Keylock's coming.
Yeah.
So to have Susie's a massive wealth of knowledge.
Yeah, she's brilliant, Susie. Yeah.
Oh my God, Susie's like whoa. I wish I had more women like her. She's just like boom.
Yeah, and balls of steel. The woman's got balls of steel.
Oh my God, yes.
And look, they can. Up to now, we haven't had many arguments. If I'm honest, Anthony, everybody really comes to learn. Do you know what I mean? And try and understand. And the people that come to these meetings are usually people from the groups who genuinely want to understand. Yeah, mate. Yeah. You'll love it, Anthony.
Yeah, I think you will. Yeah. You will, and you will start going like, yeah, smash it and spread.
But
are you still there, Anthony?
Yeah, I'm still there. Yeah, I was just
saying, okay. Get the word out. So I following along our talk. I have another one for you. Tacit agreement.
Well, this is why we put the lanes out in such a standardised thing across the board. So we tell them everything. If silence gives agreement, silence gives consent. We don't use the word money. And we don't use the word payment, and I think it's structured like that for a reason. So if you sit in silence and fail to rebut anything on a point by point basis, then you agree by default. You know what I'm saying? So, and that's why we make things clear in the liens. And I think whoever actually set that lien up, Baron David Ward, he's done it brilliantly because we've done everything professionally by the book. We don't use words we shouldn't be using. And that's why we use it on a standardised basis across the board. And you see people, writing liens, putting common law crap in there and stuff, trying to get it into the group. It's a dangerous thing if you don't get it right. You know what I'm saying? But luckily, we are getting it right, and we are clocking onto the people that are actually throwing in their own words and trying to mess up the work of Baron David Ward in a sense. So tacit agreement, yeah, you agree by default basically. Where there's no disagreement, then there's agreement. and there can't be an agreement. It can't exist without the other, can it? So if there's no disagreement, and there's an agreement by default, plain and simple. And we made that clear in the affidavit, so in the liens and the affidavit of truth.
Yeah, got another one for you. Attorney General. What is it that means? And why is so important?
Well, the attorney at law or the attorney general?
The Attorney General, yeah.
Well, it's like I said to you earlier, Carla. Everything they do, all the words they use, they're telling you absolutely everything they do in front of your face. You've just got to be smart enough to see what they're actually doing. They don't hide anything, system. You know what I mean? When they tell you power of attorney, so that means, how can you give something you haven't got to somebody? You know what I mean? So that means you must have power and you must be an attorney, to a degree. So you don't need to give power of attorney because you are an attorney. You're the highest authority. And this is why we don't go to a judge and give them authority to sign our liens, because we are the highest authority. If we go to a judge, we might have tuck it in the bin, as Scott said in the group, in the group chat, in the podcast a few weeks ago, or Adrian. We are our highest authority. We've got no masters because we are the masters. You know what I'm saying? We're masters of ourselves, our own lives. We can self-govern and self-police ourselves.
Yeah.
We need these parasites to tell us what we can and can't do while they destroy the planet. You know what I'm saying? So.
And why should our communication, we only write in the we, the third person? If you want to go and dig a little bit on that one as well.
Well, we're speaking on behalf of our principal legal embodiments, aren't we? Right? Because you are not the name. You're not actually the name. It's your parents' name for you. You didn't come into this world and say, "I want you to name me this." I wasn't even conscious. I was barely conscious when I was born. I don't remember being born, and nobody gave me a pen, to agree that my name's going to be Anthony. It's my parents' name for me. You know what I mean? It's just a clever obfuscation of the facts, and in reality, we've got a lot of unlearning to do. All of us, we've got a lot of undoing of all these things we believe to be true. Do you know what I mean? So you are not the name, and like I said earlier, you've got to start realizing who you are and who you are not. You know what I'm saying? So yeah.
Yeah, true. And if like for example, if someone asks you, do I need to do my affidavit, or do I use this one? What would you say to people asking you that?
Well, Baron David Ward's already set in stone, isn't it? It's 657 legal agreements to the facts. So you can use Baron David Ward's, or you can create your own. Obviously, I'm trying to do that myself. You can create your own affidavit, downloading the Word documents. Scott Herbert, Sadie and James have done it. I'm trying to do it myself. I'm having difficulty at the moment on my computer, getting the pictures to, come in with the words when I copy and paste. But I'll get there. But yeah, you can use the Baron David Ward affidavit.
Have you tried to use the Adrian's one that is in Word format?
Yeah, I downloaded that. I went to copy and paste absolutely everything into a new Word document, and the pictures that didn't come. It's just the words that come into the document. The pictures will stay behind, kind of thing, if that makes sense.
I can help with that, Anthony.
Okay.
It's quite simple once you know.
Yeah.
But you'd never know if you don't know, because it's hidden within the page. Yeah. Can we share screen?
Yeah.
I'll show you that another time, Anthony. But it's quite easy, mate. If you send it over to me, I can set it up for you.
Okay, brilliant. Send your doc. Send which one?
Send me a copy of your affidavit.
The one that you are working on.
The one that you're working on, and send me the artwork. And
okay.
I'll set it to where it needs to be.
Okay, yeah, that's brilliant. I started on the section 1 of the affidavit, which was the 12 presumptions of law. I copied all that in, and I put my crest and seal on and stuff, and I made that one. And I was going to obviously do each section bit by bit and convert it all using the I Love PDF app. I know it's going to take a while, but if you can obviously help me and save a lot of time doing that, yeah, I'll do that then.
Definitely, mate. No problem.
Oh, cheers, Scott, man. I appreciate it, man. But yeah, I'd like to start doing my liens in future with my own affidavit kind of thing. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, look, I'll be honest, Anthony. If I had my time again, now I know what I know. If I could take myself back 3 years, I would not bother. I'd just use David's. I'll tell you, one of the main reasons why I did my own was I was sick and tired of people telling me about the spelling mistakes in David's.
Well, this is the problem in people in this world. They focus on the negatives, don't they, and not the positives. They try and point out someone's flaws to make themselves feel better to a degree, I suppose. For a dyslexic pipe fitter, he's probably the only man on this planet that actually proved, without a shadow of a doubt, that this organisation, calling them governments, are nothing more than just organised criminals. Do you know what I mean? And it's dyslexic. If a dyslexic person can do it, a dyslexic individual can do it. Anyone can. I mean, stop focusing on the negatives and start focusing on the facts. This is what people do, Scott. Unfortunately, it makes them feel better about themselves, I suppose.
Absolutely, bud. Well, ultimately, nobody needs to ever make their own. I get where you're coming from, Anthony. It's when it's your words, even though they're David's words, but you take them to your heart, those words.
Yeah.
So they then become your words almost. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
You have to take them to your heart, those facts, and you have to do the right thing. But ultimately, you don't. Nobody needs to touch that. You could. So all your liens, your 6-week process, would all have your crest and seal on it, and at the end would be David's affidavit with his crest and seal.
Yeah.
So it's quite simple, really, because when you think about it, once you get into it, Anthony, ultimately you create your own affidavit anyway within that 6-week process. Yeah, at the end of the 6-week process, so there's a second affidavit from the house of Tyne and Heath.
Yeah,
and then it's bookended with that original affidavit. So yeah, I think I just use his personally. Do you know, if I had my time again, I mean, I went the route and did what I did, but ultimately I was sick and tired of people saying, "Oh, this is wrong, that's wrong." So I thought, well, let's correct the spelling mistakes at least. It's identical, other than the spelling mistakes.
No, it's still facts. That Baron David Ward, laid out the groundwork. Nobody asked him to do it, but he did it anyway. And we could all be doing this ourselves and be in great difficulty, but Baron David Ward left a legacy. You know what I mean? And people should be thankful rather than pointing out his flaws. We've all got flaws and weaknesses. You know what I mean? So just stop concentrating on the silly little things. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, no, everybody overlooks the intent and the content of that document. Like you said, they're happy to pick holes in it. He couldn't spell this, he couldn't do that, he had his house nicked, blah, 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 blah. But ultimately, the intent and the content in that document, it were put together by various people, ultimately, that document. But it was David Ward that took it forward and basically utilised it.
Yeah.
It's done. As far as I'm concerned, it's done. They've already waved the white flag, and you know what, Anthony? They know they're done. They know they're done, right? And they know they're getting away with it, right? Because they ultimately always will, because it's the people that is the problem.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, the government they know they're done. But they just continue because the people are just fucking arguing toss instead of like adults dealing with facts and trying to create something new.
Yeah, absolutely.
People are going about change, Anthony. They're going about change. They're going about change, but are they really ready for change? Real change?
Well, exactly. I mean, what are you doing about it? I mean, you sit there moaning about this, but what exactly are you doing about it? This is the problem. It's like what Andy Milliard posted earlier. Once the cash pot runs out for these, scumbags, people stop funding them. No, game over. The house of cards comes tumbling down anyway. We're the problem, and we're ultimately the solution as well. The solution lies within ourselves. Stop moaning about something and take action. Action speaks louder than words, doesn't it?
Oh, mate, always. That's whenever it comes to government, right? I always listen to what they say, but more importantly, I watch what they do.
Yeah, exactly.
And what their actions very rarely match their words. Yeah, so that's why I do not watch TV. I refuse to watch TV or read newspapers or magazines, anything at all. I read what they put out on their own websites, and then I watch their actions.
Yeah, exactly. It's always the opposite of what they say anyway. And if they say that the sky is blue, I have to go outside and check because I don't trust anything they say. They just, they tell that many lies, but they don't realise they're lying anymore because it's an embarrassment, and people sitting here watching Boris Johnson and Rishi Sunak and all these idiots, the CEOs of these companies, right? People are taking them seriously, going out and protesting. You're now agreeing by default you have a master because you're protesting to something. You're giving them credit to exist. You know what I'm saying? Stop going out and protesting. How about non-protest? That's the best form of protest. Stop complying, with your own demise. Stop conforming to these bandits, thieves, and terrorists. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely, mate. Yeah. It comes back to tacit agreement as well for me, Anthony, what we're talking about, because tacit agreement for me, it's quite important in terms of how do you get a liar and a fraudster to admit that they're lying and being fraudulent? You never ever will. A fraudster will never ever admit they're a fraudster. So the only means you've got is to put on paper the facts and the truth and get them to deny it. And the silence is critical because people go on about, well, they ignore the documents. Absolutely they do. Absolutely they do. And that silence speaks volumes.
Absolutely.
And that's the only real redress you've got with a fraudster. A fraudster will never admit they're a fraudster.
Oh, of course not.
Yeah. They will just say, well, I was just doing my job. But it's down to you doing that job to make sure you're not defrauding people.
Yeah, exactly.
You're taking on a role, yeah, particularly when we're talking about public figures. You're taking on a responsible role, and it's down to you.
We could speak about those enforcement agents. Whatever
but again,
that is.
It's all in the wording, Carlo, isn't it? Like I said to you earlier before Scott come on, police force. They're going to force their policies on you because that's what police are. They're policy, they're policy enforcers, and the same as enforcement agents are going to come out and use force against you. You do as you're told, or we'll beat you up basically if you don't pay us this money that we're not entitled to. You know what I mean? And it's all in the wording. They're going to come out and use force against you. You know what I'm saying? So I think, they're just glorified terrorists. They're using fancy words to cover up the fact that they're criminal and terrorists. You know what I mean? And so, yeah, enforcement agents. You're the agent of what? Another bunch of enforcers, another bunch of terrorists. You know what I mean? It's one big terrorist organisation, and they tell you that you can't go around having a fight in the street because it's a disturbance of the peace, but yet you're bombing the crap out of Middle East countries. I don't think we're on quite the same page, me and these people in this private company calling itself agent parliaments and governments. You know what I'm saying? So enforcement agents, yeah, just terrorists. Let's call it for what it is. Let's call a spade a spade. Just terrorists, plain and simple.
Well, it isn't it an agent? So enforcement agent, yeah, an agent is somebody that acts on behalf of another.
Yeah.
So they are enforcing on behalf of another. Well,
yeah,
you can only do that if you've got power of attorney.
Exactly.
But there's never a power of attorney giving anyone authority. Yeah, there's no authority from the court to the original claimant. And there's no paperwork then. So once the original claimant gets judgment and they can then go and enforce, they've got to then give it to a third party. So they have to then give power of attorney to the third party to act for and on behalf of.
Exactly, which proves there was never any contract in place in the first place. There was never actually an informal agreement.
And nothing's ever signed. So I think the car, I can't remember what the car, they did a word for it. But they should have a document. So say council tax, for instance.
Yeah.
The council purport to have a liability order, which of course they never do.
Yeah.
That then gives them power to enforce, which they do through a third party. So then there's another document. There's another document from the council to the third party.
Oh, the deed of assignment. The assignment.
Deed of, that's the word. Deed of assignment. That should be signed. So there's accountability throughout the whole process. Yeah.
Yeah.
The judge signs the document, or should, never does, but the judge should sign the liability order.
Yeah.
The liability order, then the power of attorney then from the council is signed with a deed of assignment, signed. Yeah, that gives the authority to the third party interloper, the agents.
Yeah.
And there should be accountability throughout, but of course, as we know, nothing's ever signed.
There you go. That's all we need to know, doesn't it?
So there's no liability order signed. They're just notices. Yeah. What they actually do is there's an application for a liability order. So there's a notice of a liability order. There's no liability order.
Exactly. Clever play on words.
And there's also no deed of assignment either. Which there should be a deed of assignment all signed, but nothing's ever signed, as we know, Anthony.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Baron David Ward made. We didn't make the bailiff, but bailiff drove 92 miles to David Ward's house. And David Ward said, "Have you got the deed of assignment?" And he got on the phone to the council, and he never had one. He had to get back in his car and drive all the way back.
Absolutely, mate. And ultimately, right, these agents, they're pretty much all self-employed.
Yeah, exactly. And they've set it up that way on purpose. And my hypothesis on that is they've done it on purpose, set it up self-employed. So the bailiff now knows he's got to earn his money. So the bailiff will have an IQ low enough to go out and deliberately cause harm at the guy or woman's door and commit force because he wants his money. So because he gets a cut of that, so he can put bread on the table. And they know he's going to do that because he's self-employed. He's got to earn his own salary basically by going out and committing terrorism.
Well, the reason they do it, Anthony, is because ultimately that poor old bailiff at door, Mr. fucking thick knobhead, he's ultimately he's
when
liable.
You say those words, you have to repeat them again. Knobhead.
Big thick fucking knobhead.
Love it.
Because that's ultimately usually what they are, either a young gorilla.
Yeah.
With the knobhead.
With a big knobhead, or there's all sorts coming to doors nowadays. They're sending all sorts to doors. But look, ultimately, it's all about liability. Yeah. Who's going to be liable? Because council aren't liable. They make sure they're not liable because they pass it to a fucking third party.
Definitely.
Yeah, so he's liable ultimately, but they're all fucking liable. Because they'll all send their own documentation. So you can hold them all accountable.
Yeah. And we have another good one, which is a notice of control of goods.
Oh, good, yeah, because I have a market stall in my living room. I'm selling stuff from my
I know you do, Anthony.
You know what I mean? Premises, there's another one. Premises.
Yeah, another good one, yeah.
Clever use of language. Everything's commercialised in their world. They make the language. It's a commercial language, the English language. It's actually a commercial language, and it's a worldwide language. So everybody's on the same page, getting ripped off or doing the ripping off. Depending on what side of the fence you're on. You know what I mean? With the trickery of words, and you gotta give credit to these people because they've played it in such a way that we've all been hoodwinked into it at some point in our lives. You know what I mean?
Well, it helps, Anthony, if you also control education, doesn't it?
Well, yeah, state-controlled schools is what I said to Carla earlier, because they get to decide what education your kid is indoctrinated with.
That word "state" again, Anthony, isn't it? That word "state." State-run school.
Yeah.
State this, state that. So ultimately, anything with that word in, we should be stepping back from it.
Yeah, exactly.
We know what the state is. Yeah, we've got a very lengthy 7-page document from Chandran Kokathis giving us a definition of the word state.
Yeah.
Yeah, created by man, but not controlled by man.
Yeah.
So an abstract, Anthony, and that abstract, right, ultimately is in control of every facet of man's life. Every facet, education, health, welfare, everything they're in control of, and there is no welfare or any. There is nothing for the people, and has there ever been, Anthony? I'm not sure there ever has, mate.
No, there hasn't. I mean, you only got to look back through history in the times we've been alive. I mean, see all the destruction, the horror, and the poverty, the homelessness. All these things. These people have got no obligations to you, just like we've got no obligations to them. Right? They're only in it for themselves. The state has no obligations but to himself. Got no obligations to us. You know what I'm saying? So,
Correct.
best thing we can do is stop funding them and let them collapse all by themselves. They're done, like you said earlier. They're done anyway. I said this to Carla. They're done. It's just a matter of time that people are going to start getting up out of their slumber, start realising, hang on a minute, something's just quite not right here. Do you know what I mean?
Mm. Absolutely, mate. Look, as you say, in my lifetime, there's been acts and statutes as long as all my life. I've never known anything different. There's been murders, there's been rapes, there's paedophilia running rife. All these things have always been there, and we've got 8 million acts and statutes to stop all this thing. So
Yeah.
clearly it's not working. Yeah, just looking at it from a civilian, it's not working.
No, it's not.
People, everyday people, Anthony, and have a little try at this. You too, Carla. Random strangers, just stop and see if you can get an interview. What do you think of the corruption that's going on? Because everybody knows of the corruption that's going on, but everybody feels powerless to do anything.
Yeah, and they're looking for somebody else to sort the problems out while they bury their heads in the sand, and this is the problem. They're moaning about, but they want somebody else. They want a saviour to come in and ride to the rescue. You don't want to do nothing for yourself, and that makes you part of the problem. Do you know what I mean, Scott?
Yeah, I think there is a lack of what I call the hope of one. People don't really feel that I alone can change my reality, and when I change my reality or the way I perceive things that surround me, everything that is around me will change. So they don't have that. Somehow it was lost. It was taken from us. So yeah, because I notice sometimes when I speak to people and I tell them, you are your highest authority, do you know what that even means? And they just go like, what? No, I don't know what that means. So it's like you almost have to, like you are teaching a child. It's like you are teaching them to become what they always have been, but somehow it was taken from us.
Yep.
Yeah, the power of one. And I think that what people that really grasp the affidavit, this is like what we were waiting for. Like, because one of the things that I noticed that we all have in common is this: we never fit in. We always found that this construct was weird and strange. There were times where I feel like, yeah, I'm the one who's wrong because I don't like what I'm seeing and I don't like the things that are here. But then the affidavit comes and you start reading and you start like, wow, I have the power. I've always had it. Like the movie, in Dorothy, you always had the power. You just need to your little red shoes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the same thing, we see it in Neo. Yeah. Neo 1. Yeah. So the power of 1. And people need to start to understand that, yeah, you might think that this is hard. You might think that, oh, I can't do it. But again, it's you telling yourself the things that you can't do. And instead of doing that, try the other way around. I can do this. I'm going to make it. I'm going to go step by step. Because now there is so many resources in the groups and all the things that we are putting out, so you're not alone. You always have all this panoply. Help me out, guys. I'm losing my English. Panoply. Oh, forget it. Yeah, you have all of this done. I didn't get any help from you.
I wasn't sure where you were going with that, Carla.
What?
I wasn't sure where you were going with that. What were you trying to say?
With the word?
Yeah, what were you trying to say?
You have many choices. What word do you use to say you have many things to choose from?
Multiple.
What?
Multiple.
No, panoply.
Options.
Monopoly.
Yeah, panoply, isn't it?
What?
Monopoly.
No, panoply.
That's not even a real word, Carla.
Oh my God, isn't it?
Carla, that's not even. I'm not having that. Panoply.
Yeah, a panoply. It's like you have lots of no.
Yeah, I'm googling that now.
Yeah, panoply. Maybe I'm not saying with the right accent. It says an extensive or impressive collection. Let's see how the Google says this with an accent.
Panoply.
Oh, panoply. Sorry.
Panoply.
Yeah, panoply. I'm thinking, what? That's not even a word.
I've never heard that word. I'll be honest.
Okay, yeah. Thank you, Anthony.
Yeah, okay, guys. Yes, I can add my my accent to the things and change every single word. That's how I break
thanks for the English
spells.
lesson, Carla.
Yeah, thanks, Carla.
You're very welcome. So how do you say it again? Panoply.
Panoply.
Yeah, panoply. Not panoply.
Yeah, that threw me completely, that Carla. I'm thinking,
Do you know why? Because Portuguese and French, when we speak the vowels, we open the mouth to speak them.
Well, funny enough, so do we, Carla.
What?
Funny enough, so do we.
What did you say?
Open our mouths and something comes out.
Otherwise, we'd be miming, wouldn't we?
Yeah, I have to be very careful using my words next to Anthony because he's gonna come up with something.
Two languages I speak, Carla. That's good English and bad English.
Yes, I know. Yeah, but that's why every time I go to make like some pronunciation of some words, and if it has a vowel, I always have that thing to open the vowel, like that's why I use panoply. But no, I have to close it down. Panoply.
Panoply.
Yeah, like the pineapple.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking monopoly. I wonder if she means monopoly, but that's not what she means, because that's different.
No.
Yeah. Well, we get you now. Yeah, we get you.
Yeah, we always get things at the end, but now you learn a new word, which is what I was trying to express. Yeah, we have Zooms, we have more channels, we have again panoply of things for you to choose from. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
An absolute plethora.
What?
Yeah, that's the word. Plethora.
Yeah.
Plethora.
Plethora,
Yeah.
plethora.
Oh, I don't know that one.
That's a very similar word.
Ah.
But yeah, do you know what? Dave Ward once told me.
Oh, plethora.
The only,
I like this one.
The only
I like this one. Plethora.
Plethora, yeah, plethora.
Really nice. Like the sound of it. Yeah.
Yeah, he said to me, right, the only fucking democracy that works, Scott, is a democracy of one.
Of one, yeah.
Fucking right and all.
Yeah. Do you know what? The hardest thing when he was speaking to me that I could not grasp was when he said, "You were born with nothing and you will go with nothing."
So
and I remember that at that point, my brain was fighting, because he was saying those words to me and I was like, oh no, but I have my clothes and I have this and I have that, and like the time goes by and you start, like the affidavit starts to sit inside of you, and it's those moments that you go, oh, I see now what the hell he was talking about.
Well, whether you've got millions in the bank or you've got nothing, your grave size will always be the same. You'll still be in a little hole in the ground. It's not going to be any different because you've got £4 million, in the bank. I mean, it's the same thing. You can't take it with you anyway. So we effectively we have nothing, from cradle to grave. So, and that's what we've got to accept, really.
Yeah. True.
Absolutely. I was just going to say something similar, really, Carla. All them items that we accumulate, whether it be cash in bank or things, they're just anchors. They stop you moving forward.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all nonsense. The game is to keep moving forward. Don't get trapped. Don't get stuck in one place. Keep moving forward, and come at everything heart-centered. You need your brain. You need your mind, but it tells you fucking lies. Your eyes tell you lies. Your ears tell lies, but your heart never ever lets you down.
Yeah. He's the first one to speak.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, I say heart, Carla. I don't know if it's heart, but that gut instinct, that feeling. When you make a right decision and it gives you that feeling inside, you can't explain.
Yeah, it's a very, very, very almost unhearable, tiny voice. It's always there, and it's always telling you the right way to move, when to move, what to believe. And then there is a louder one that keeps telling you, oh no, like giving excuses, like for instance with letters, when people, like that voice tells you inside, oh no, just throw it in the bin. Oh no, don't go and face those people, because those people are mean and they will come back to you. But then if you pay attention, that gut instinct is there telling you, when are you going to rise? When are you going to be you? When are you going to make things that you want to make? But it's very tiny, almost unperceivable to hear. Yeah.
And that, Carla, stops a lot of people in the tracks. It's that feeling, and we stop trying, I think, and it's important to keep trying, right? People are scared of failing so desperately, and people, you shouldn't be. Do you know what I mean? You shouldn't be scared of not trying, because once you stop trying, right, then you need to start doing something different, because you've always got to try. You'll always fail. Failing is learning. Putting it right next time. That's all part of the game.
You don't learn very much from success. You
Yeah.
learn from.
I have another one for you. I have another one for you, Anthony. Yeah, which is, okay, with great knowledge comes great responsibility.
It ties into what we've just been talking about, Carla, really, doesn't it?
Yeah. What are your thoughts on that, Anthony?
Well, what is responsibility? I mean, it's the ability to respond to situations, isn't it? I mean, it's the ability to respond, everyday life things that happen. Like I've got an ability to respond to fraudsters that keep pushing letters through my letterbox when I didn't ask them to, unsigned, making claims, and I've got the ability to serve liens on them. It's every day, It's having the ability to get up and get out there and do things with your life. Stop letting people rule you and stuff like that, and stop letting people be responsible for you. Yes, having great knowledge it's one thing, but sometimes the less you know, the more you know, the less you know, kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? It's not. I don't know how to put it. Knowing things isn't always a good thing, kind of thing. Because
Absolutely, mate.
You know what I'm saying, Scott?
I know exactly what you're saying. You can search and you can look for knowledge, right? All constantly, your whole life. But and then you suddenly stop and you realise, fuck me, I forgot to live.
Yeah, exactly.
Knowledge is great, Anthony, but what knowledge are you searching for?
This is what I mean.
You need to have a fucking goal and a plan.
Yeah.
You can't just leave it. You can't just leave it to chance and then complain when things don't go your way.
That's what I mean. But at least you got out there and tried. That's the main thing.
Listen, mate. When I fail, I fail on my terms because I'm fucking. At least I'm having a go.
Yeah, exactly. This is why I say about winning all the time. You don't very much learn from winning, and winning leaves you open to attack. It makes you vulnerable. You get stronger the more you learn, and when you it only becomes a mistake when you actually correct it. You know what I mean? If you keep on doing the same thing and making the same errors, it's not a mistake. You just got an unwillingness, to recognise and take responsibility for what you've actually just done. Do you know what I'm saying? If that makes sense.
Absolutely, mate. You're only ever responsible for your actions, words, and deeds. We're not responsible for anybody else's, just our own.
Yep.
And that's called getting your fucking house in order.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, actions, words, and deeds. That's all we are, mate.
Yeah.
That's all we are in the physical. That's all we are. Yeah. A man's word is his bond. It used to be. You said you were going to do something and you went and did it.
Yeah.
But it's a different world, mate. Now everything's online and relationships have changed. Interaction. People don't interact anymore.
No. Shame it.
So yeah, it's a strange place considering it's social media. It's about as social as a fucking fart in a phone box.
Yeah, I know. Everyone just got their own different stories, opinions, theories, conspiracy theories. Everyone's got something to argue with somebody else about because their story is better than your story, or their conspiracy is better than your conspiracy theory. And you're not seeing the bigger picture. Put all your stuff down with everyone else. Come together and realise we've all got the same common goal and purpose. And to recognise who we are and who we are not. And these people that claim to be governing us are actually doing the opposite and they're terrorising, and you're funding them, right, by propping up these companies that claim to be supplying you and charging you for water, which doesn't belong to anybody anyway, and all these things. It's just diabolical how far generations have become, and how stupid, and imbeciles people have become over the generations, to realise what's really going on, seeing what's really going on in front of them. Do you know what I mean?
That's another great word, imbecile.
Yeah, I love that word.
I love that word. Well, I have a panoply. Panoply? I can't say it again. I'm gonna say it my way. Panoply of words that I love.
That's a beauty. That.
What?
Put them into a file.
Yeah, I'm gonna start doing that, you know? Yeah, good idea, good idea. But
Like
yeah,
on
but
my Facebook post.
the thing is that I have to record them. It has to be a recording file because when I write them correctly. But is the pronunciation where I give my input into it. Okay, so just to wrap this one up, I want your guys' views on this. So today, a baron in Portugal, he got his electricity turned off from the outside. Yeah. And the thing is that they are trying to coerce him to have a meter, a smart meter. Yeah. So he phoned them, and I think he went there. Yeah. And he said he doesn't want a smart meter. And they told him either you have a smart meter, or we are going to. You have an obligation to let us in to install the smart meter. And this is not, so this is commercial because it's a restaurant. Yeah. So what are your views on this situation? He didn't do a lean yet. He's looking at start a lean because now he has the papers that they gave him today. So the first thing that he did, I told him, okay, let them do what they have to do because it's your restaurant and we deal with it after. So he took, like, you remember that book, Scott, the visit book?
Oh yeah, visitor's book. Yeah.
So we got that, and the guy said to him that he was not going to fill out the visit book because he had no authorization to do so. And he was just doing his job, so he didn't fill out that one. And but he didn't install the smart meter. He said he was going to come back another day.
Okay.
Because he said, you cannot do anything because like you, I'm doing my job. So I need this visit book signed. And if you can't sign it, I can't let you in. Same thing with you. You have an order to go and do your job, right? And yeah, so he got him there. So I would like to hear your views, both of you, on this specifics. What can he do next, basically?
Well, it's kind of a tough one, isn't it? Because he's got a restaurant, so clearly he's got some kind of regulations and all the other nonsense that he abides by in terms of the food industry and stuff like that. So by default, they've got power over him anyway, and they could just shut him down. I mean, this is evidenced by all the COVID crap that went on in 2020. They were shutting businesses down for being open. And you know all the terrorism that went on there, shutting businesses down, gyms, people that refused to comply with the nonsense. So it's kind of a tough one because he's got a restaurant, hasn't he? It's not a private home, is it? It's different. The Englishman's home is his castle, obviously. It's just a different thing, isn't it? They will continue to keep harassing him, or they'll just turn up with fucking chains and lock his doors and shit. These people have got, they've got no qualms about doing shit like that. You know what I'm saying? So it's a tough one. What about you, Scott? What do you think?
He's in Portugal, but in one of the islands.
Well, it'll be a limited company. How many staff work at this company, this restaurant?
I don't know.
Does he stop tax at source? Does he pay VAT?
Yeah, he's still paying all of that.
Right.
Yeah.
So his company really is part of the problem. Yeah. So you can't. He'll take as a company. He'll take tax benefits. Some of his staff might be on tax credits, for instance.
Yeah.
So while you're taking benefits, you can't then you can't then say no. I don't accept this law or that law. What we're saying is all the acts and statutes are in the bin. So while ever you're abiding by some, you can't get out of others. It's all or nothing. This is fucking Pandora's box wide open.
Yeah.
Simple, really. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, he's very aware, and he knows the affidavit back and forth. And when this situation started, I told him, "Listen, man, you need to be very careful what you are going to do now, because." But he decided at that time. He said, "I want to see how far can they go." So he was already aware, and he chose to go through this path. So he was really calm today, and because again, he already knew what he was expecting. What he wasn't expecting, it was that they, because for you to go and switch the thing, even if it's outside, you need like an assignment to do so. And normally they go one day before they disconnect the service, and they didn't do that. So he was caught on surprise on that aspect. But yeah, he went there, and they turned the thing on again, but on the premises that they will come back to fit the smart meter. So for me, that's what I said to him. I don't see any escape of this, like escaping from this, because yeah, they will go and they will fit the smart meter. But I think it's a very good point to really all of the barons in Portugal start looking and researching for other solutions. You know, like instead of using their service, like put like the solar panels, or you know, one of those, how do you call it, the that one that does a lot of noise. Yeah, I don't remember the name. You know, like a battery, like those big, huge, noisy
Generator.
What?
A generator.
Oh yes, exactly, a generator. Yeah. So for me, at this point, this is the only thing I see that is possible. And the other one is start lean, because now you have material evidence of what they are trying to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This restaurant, Carla, does it? What's he disputing? Is he not wanting to pay the bill, or is he just not wanting a smart meter?
No, just a smart meter.
Oh, well, you can fuck that off.
Yeah.
So he's paying bill anyway?
Yeah, he paid. Yeah. But they want to fit a smart meter. And because they want to fit a smart meter, so they disconnected him to the grid. Yeah. Like to pressure him to do what they want.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So he's not trading at the moment then?
No, this happened today in the morning, and then he went there to their offices, and he got connected in the afternoon. Yeah.
Okay. So he's back connected?
Yeah, but the guy left saying that he will come back to fit the smart meter.
Well, again, you start at ground zero, don't you? It's a fresh man or woman at the door, a person, somebody in an office. Yeah, just because they're at your front door, they're still in an office. They work for a company ultimately. And there's a signing in book. We have a procedure. Yeah, unless you fill this signing in book in, we can't let you in.
Yeah. If it works, for today.
So they'll turn him off again, and then he'll be back on in the afternoon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's yeah. I'm gonna.
Ultimately, you need to start going after this guy that keeps turning you off.
Yeah, the CEO. Yeah, I said that to him. I said, man, if you want to start playing that game, you need to start going to the beginning and the higher up in the chain.
And not just the CEO, Carla, the guy at the door as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the guy at the door, it was just an agent, and he had nothing. He didn't sign anything, and the papers that he had weren't even signed.
He's got insurance though, Carla.
Yeah.
He's got insurance. He's liable.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, absolutely. They're agents. They're liable ultimately. So we go after him, her, and the CEO of the company that he works for.
Yeah, and because it's an island, it's very small. It's only one company, one broker. I mean, they only have one broker.
Oh well, yeah, a nice little monopoly.
Yeah. So the broker buys the contracts to the local governing body, which this governing body is a subsection of. It's similar to what you guys have here with with Ireland.
Okay, devolved power.
Yeah, exactly. So they are all Portuguese, yeah. But these two islands, they have a different government body, but that government body belongs to the continent Portuguese body as well. But they have some differences in their their stupidity. Yeah.
Well, shit rolls downhill, Carla, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So they are dumb as a box of frogs, the people that knock at your door generally.
Yeah, you can see that because the guy saying that he will come back. So there is something that is preventing him. That's what I was saying to him. You need to go and start researching because there was something that prevented him to enter and change the meter.
Well, they can't come. Look, if the guy, right, as a company, if the guy wasn't paying his bill and he was in arrears, then they've got more of a case. But just to fit a fucking smart meter, we don't need this.
Because in Portugal they can cut you off. It's not like here. They cut you off.
Well, they can't even in Portugal. They do, Carla.
Yeah.
But they can't.
Yeah. Yeah, but here you always you have the water and electricity and gas. It's considered what you call it, the essential thing. Yeah. In Portugal, you don't have that. They don't consider that. Even when it was this shit show of the 2020, they had to put out a decree saying that during the period of pandemic, they would not cut off people's electricity and water. But then after it had, so it was up 15 days, and then it was reevaluated after 15 days. So after that emergency thing that they call it, they said that they were going to start cutting again. Yeah. So that's
wow.
Yeah.
I've lost Anthony.
Yeah. Oh well, Anthony. He left the building. Yeah, 2 hours mark. Yeah, that's what he said, 2 hours. Yeah, probably had to go to work. Yeah, well, we will wrap this one up. That's it. Thank you, Scott, for coming and joining. And yeah, we will speak soon, guys. Thank you so much for watching.
Thank you, guys.
Don't forget to go and check the workshop and on the Anthony's Facebook group. And that's all for now. And bye-bye. See ya.
Bye.
Bye-bye.